that way. Feel free to ask questions. We do want you to have that opportunity. This is Ron and Billy. Okay?
Welcome to tonight's Ladies and Wheels Night. We titled our segment Weathering Winter Weather, and I hear we're supposed to get some of that tonight. So hopefully some of our tips will help you either with tonight's weather and or make it through the winter weather. Bill is the head of our quick lane. He's probably one of the #1 tire experts in the area, so we'll have Bill talk about the tire section. We're going to talk about some other items. The topics of discussion, we want to make sure your vehicle is ready for winter. We're going to discuss all-wheel drive and four-wheel drive systems in operation. The section on winter tires will be Bill presenting that. Driving in winter weather and helping to prevent those accidents. We do have somebody here tonight too. We'll talk about that later. Removing snow from your vehicle, how to do it and why you should do it. And then when we get out into the Wayne's World section, I'm going to briefly touch on these bottom three items, the antifreeze, the wipers, and battery section. Wayne, who's one of our master Toyota techs, will be able to discuss those in more detail if you have questions on those items. So the first topic, making sure your vehicle's ready for winter. Some simple things you can do is make sure you've had regular maintenance performed. When oil gets old and used up, it gets a lot of water in it, and that causes a lot of starting issues and things like that. So you want to make sure you've had the regular oil changes. And if you do a regular service, especially if you do it here at Irwin, we go through the whole entire car for you. We'll check the antifreeze, we'll check the tires, make sure they've got good tread, make sure your brakes are ready, those types of things. Be sure to use the proper oil for colder weather. A lot of modern vehicles have an oil in them that will accommodate any kind of weather, cold or hot. There are still vehicles out there that have a different weight of oil in the winter time. You just want to make sure that that last oil change before winter hits, that you're using that proper viscosity oil. Have your antifreeze checked for winter. We start doing that in August because we know the cold weather's coming, but if you haven't had yours checked in a while, it's a real simple test. We could do it for you. We take a little meter and we dip it in and grab some of the coolant, make sure it's good for 40 below. Replace your wiper blades. Maybe not necessarily replacing them, at least have them checked, make sure they're not torn, they're in good shape, they're clearing the windshield well. We can do that with a simple water test on that too. Last thing you want to do is hit your first snowstorm and half your windshield isn't cleaned off. Clean and inspect your battery. This is the time of year we start replacing batteries because the first cold snap, the car doesn't start, people are calling us up. And the other common item is the tire light comes on this time of year because when we set the pressures in the summertime, I bet we got, I don't know, Bill probably got 100 calls today and I got 200 calls. We just told people, go on down, we'll fill them up. Because what happens is as the cold weather starts to come, the molecules of air start to condense and the pressure actually drops inside the tire, and once it hits a certain threshold, that light comes on. I'm not saying that's what your light is, but it could be. I'll check that for you. A very important part of it, we're going to talk about this in winter tires too, checking the tire tread depth and condition of your tires. We're going to discuss all weather, all-season tires also, what the difference between a winter tire and an all-season tire is. And check your brakes, heater, defroster, lights. You didn't use your heater all summer. Worst thing you can do is go to turn that defroster on the first time the windshield won't clear. A lot of people don't think about this because we've got a lot of population around here. So always have like an emergency kit in there and a cell phone charger. If you get stuck, the battery will still charge the cell phone, but if you don't have that charger, that battery on the phone will still be in trouble. And just know what to do if you become stranded. The emergency kit would definitely help. Having the cell phone, we're going to discuss if you get stuck, ways to get out of that. The next section we're going to talk about is all-wheel drive and four-wheel drive systems. They confuse a lot of people, and the irony of this is they're almost becoming one and the same nowadays. But basically, a four-wheel drive system is four-wheel drive part-time for the most part. And all-wheel drive is full-time, four-wheel drive all the time. The four-wheel drive system usually require you to do something, pull a lever, turn a dial, different things like that, versus all-wheel drive where you're just driving down the road and it needs to be used, it's always working. A four-wheel drive system, there's usually a lot of clearance on the bottom of the car that allows you to be able to go off-road with it, all different types of terrain. Most all-wheel drive cars, not all of them, are a little bit lower to the ground. And you get a little bit better gas mileage on all-wheel drive versus the four-wheel drive. Four-wheel drives usually have a low gear mode. That's so that you can go off hunting in the woods with it. Most all-wheel drives are just made, they don't have a low gear. They're made for we call them all-weather driving. You can drive in all kinds of weather, but they're not really made to go off the top of the road. A four-wheel drive system can be a full-time system, about 50-50. Some are full-time, some are half, but an all-wheel drive system is a full-time four-wheel drive system. They always have that four-wheel drive. The wheels always have to be powered. I put a little. You have to shift the lever to put it in, or just turn the dial and push it up?
No, I have to sit.
So you're in two-wheel drive mode until you pull that lever. That's what you experience here. So you have a four-wheel. Okay, I'll look at it when we get out too. But you most likely have a four. If you're pulling the lever, you made it. That's what I'm referring to as four-wheel. All-wheel drive, you wouldn't have to pull it. You might have to turn a dial for snow or sand or something, and you wouldn't necessarily have to pull that. Yes. If you have a button for the four-wheel drive, that's how you're activating the four-wheel drive.
But they told me here on the
I want to look at your specific vehicle. Okay, when we get done with this little section, you're going to be heading over to Wayne's World there. Wayne is you can take a quick look at it, and I don't want to confuse you. What year is your? What year is it? 2007. Yeah, she's got a button on the dash for four-wheel drive.
Yes.
She's wanting to know if she has to push it to get over four-wheel drive.
Yes.
She all-wheel drive.
You're all-wheel drive though. So, I'm sorry.
It says four-wheel drive on the back of the car.
Okay, it's an 07, it's early.
Yes.
Okay, yes, you'd have to push it. Yeah.
Oh. They told me here that I would never have to do that.
Every model year they change certain things and procedures on how to get it in and out of four-wheel drive versus all-wheel drive. It's outlined very detailed in your owner's manual. You just actually go to the back of it and look for the symbol and it'll tell you when to push it and when not to.
Some systems are all-wheel drive, and if you want to get into four-wheel drive mode, you push that button to activate all four wheels at the same time. So, well, after this little section or after Wayne's section, we'll look at that issue too. Just like Wayne said, there's one time we've got a four-wheel drive system, next model will be very modern, and we've got an all-wheel drive, so we really have to adjust your system to make sure we can all that. Yeah, we'll do that. Yeah, sure. That's correct. When we inspect the state inspect the vehicle, or actually when we do a regular service here at Irwin, we actually check the tires, battery, fluids. You get a pretty thorough check on them just in order to change the state inspect. But we have to check the state inspect. And we'll give you a report. If it's done here, we'll actually give you a report what the measurement was before you leave. The next page describes those four-wheel drive and all-wheel drive systems in a little more depth. The one I really wanted to pay attention to is about the fifth, sixth bullet point down. Four-wheel drive systems can be full or part-time. A part-time system driver manually shifts between two and four-wheel drive, and part-time four-wheel drive should not be driven on dry roads in four-wheel drive mode. What that means is if you're pulling that lever and to activate your four-wheel drive, you don't want to be driving on dry pavement. That's actually a dangerous situation. So, in fact, that's what you have by pulling that lever four-wheel drive. You don't want, but an all-wheel drive system will actually account for the dry pavement. You're not going to worry about anything. So it's very important to know the difference between the two. Many four-wheel drives are full-time. In conventional four-wheel drives, a differential is used inside the transport case to make four-wheel drive use on payment costly. So there's an additional set of long-range gears that I talked about. In all-wheel drive, you're just driving the car down the road and it takes care of itself. So a lot of front-wheel drive cars can handle our weather just fine. It's awful nice to have a four-wheel drive or all-wheel drive on. A lot of you folks here tonight have a front-wheel drive. Don't have the all-wheel drive. If it helps you understand, maybe next time you buy a car, you get one all-wheel drive car. A lot more cars are coming out with an all-wheel drive option instead of four-wheel drive. And they get a little bit better fuel economy. There are less headaches for the customer trying to figure out whether or not they got to be pushing a button or pulling a lever. And they actually help in dry pavement, sandy conditions and things like that, where it's a front-wheel drive car doesn't do so. We're going to start talking about winter tires now, and we've got some pages in there for Bill. We actually have a sample about halfway through. We'll show you the difference between the winter tire and the snow tire. Yes.
Before you go to tires, going back to windshields and fluid, I've been changing the last few years my wipers. Is it such, I believe I know when you say what, winter wipers?
Sure.
And is that correct?
They make a winter blade. It's usually got a rubber boot on it. That's actually in one of my sections in the back there. Winter blades have a rubber boot. Some cars, the windshields hurt so much it doesn't accommodate the winter wiper well because they don't bend as good as a conventional wiper. On a Toyota and some of the other models, you can actually change just the rubber part. You want to make sure that rubber is brand new, regardless of which you have. Some windshields do okay with the winter blades. I had a 4Runner, and I could only get the middle 4 inches of the windshield to scrape with those blades, so I had to take them back off.
And then the same thing, I switched my windshield wiper fluid with an orange.
They make fluid that, they make fluid that goes down to a little bit lower temperature. You'll tend to find folks in the summertime, when we're in April, May, coming into the summer, you're going to see a lot lighter blue colored fluid. You just want to make sure, or real light orange colored fluid. You just want to make sure the fluid you have going into winter, that's another one of the topics in there. So we're just discussing it a little early. You want to make sure that fluid doesn't freeze on the first time that temperature drops. And if it's a really light color, whether it's blue, there's different colors out there. I've seen pink, I've seen blue. If it's really light color, chances are it's going to freeze the first time it hits your windshield. So we take a look at that when you service, like an oil change or something. We'll check that just make sure it's not going to freeze on you. If you press that button the first time and it doesn't work, I guarantee you there's too much water content in your washer fluid. We just have to bring it inside and go on the line. Definitely. That's something that it's part of our normal practice. And one thing we look at too is make sure that our reservoir is filled up and not there's going to be a certain fill mark in there too. That's another good indication whether or not it needs to be serviced. That's one of the slides.
And somebody checked out.
Oh yes, and we'll check them at the services too.
Well, when you change the seasons,
Actually, that's a good question. That's in one of the antifreeze sections. You always want to use the correct color antifreeze. And actually, in some cases, we get a car in here that's got the wrong color fluid. A lot of Toyotas take a pink fluid, and they have green fluid in. Or I see brown fluid, which is somebody who took some green and topped off the pink and made a brown color. So, yeah, the different systems, the antifreeze is made to accommodate the system. That's when we start checking.
So the problem is
Most folks come in every 4 months or so, so you start planning in August to checking those things. We want to make sure you don't go into the next time you're servicing. It could be 6 months from now, and that would put you over into February. So we would know it if you had things freezing up. We would know that it's something to check. Any other questions on that section? All right, I'm going to introduce Bill. Like I said, you got tire questions. This is the guy. So I think you know that.
Good evening. On tires, the big question we get a lot of times is, do I really need snow tires? And from my point of view, you do need snow tires. There's a big difference between tires, a snow tire and all-season. Ron's got them out here now. This is an all-season tire. This is basically what your car will come through. This is what your car will have on it, new from the factory. You never put a snow tire on your car. So it's basically a straight rib tire. You can see the solid ribs going, a few grooves to the outside to dissipate the water. Very little of what they call siping. Siping are cuts in the tread. Because of that, they have a solid running down the middle that gives you more handling stability in the dry and wet pavement. The snow tire like Ron has, you're going to be a directional tire. Right now this tire will be going this direction. And we're going to turn around and go the other way. So,
Unless you like to drive backwards.
so it has the biggest spaces between the blocks. You can see how close the spaces are in this one. Biggest spaces to clear out the snow. It has many cuts into the tread or siping. Those sipes actually, with the weight of the tire, when you're going down the road, open and close, and cleans out the snow that gets into the tread. The rubber on this tire, you'll hear a lot of people say, well, it's softer rubber. Well, it's not softer rubber. It's basically the same rubber as this rubber. It's just that they put a compound called silica into it, which means when the temperature drops below 30, this still has the same pliability that this tire has at 60 degrees. So when you have a winter like we had last year with very little snow, that the cold weather and a little bit of ice, a little bit of snow comes down and freezing rain, this tire is going to be pretty slick because this tire is going to get very hard as the temperatures drop. So if we're at 20 degrees, the rubber on this one, if you go to push on it, it's not going to have any give. This tire is still going to have give, so even though you don't have snow, the snow tire is going to give you the safety, on ice, on limited amount of snow. The big advantage on the snow tire is how aggressive the tread is. Any tire on your front wheel drive cars, your four wheel drive cars, you'll be fine going straight ahead. Okay, so I also have to laugh when I'm going down 93. I have a person pass me to the four wheel drive, it's snowing out, it's going crazy. You can almost depend that you're going to see him off the side of the road because in the head, four wheel drive, I can go anywhere. Well, any vehicle can go straight ahead. It's when you have to stop, when you have to turn the wheel. This tire right here, when you have to stop, you can see there's just nothing near the grip. You're just going to keep on sliding. This tire is going to have all these biting edges, are going to be gripping that road, whether there's snow on it or not. It's going to stop you quicker. You go to turn the wheel on your car, this tire again, you're going to go straight if the conditions are slippery. This tire right here is going to give you the grip to make that turn. So safety is the big thing on snow tires. Whether you get snow or not, it doesn't have to be 6, 12-inch snowstorms. You can have a 2-inch snowstorm, and this is going to give you that much more safety. The stopping ability, the turning ability is the huge advantage of snow tires. For wintertime, you want to take them off in the summertime. It's the same thing that gives you the advantage in the wintertime. All this pliability, all these cutting edges will wear out faster in the summertime. It's going to be better. It's going to be better because it does have more spaces to evacuate the water. Yep. It could, but for the few times we're going to experience that, I'd stay with an all-season tire. In the summertime, I would definitely want to run the snow tire in the summertime. Yes.
My last car had
All season.
and they were horrible my wreck. So I am really for all your is that like a really bad?
No, it's fine. The only
Those tires on my car are wearing my car there.
The only disadvantage of running these year-round is they're going to wear out a little bit faster in the summertime. You're going to have a little more road noise because it is a more aggressive tread. Safety-wise, it's fine.
Because I replace them every 4 years just because I want to be able to
Yep. No, that's fine. We recommend putting an all-season on just so you can prolong the life of the snow tire. If you don't run it in the summertime, you probably get 3 seasons out of the most name brand snow tires now. But if you're running year-round, depending on how much driving you do, you might only get 2 years out of it. So again, it depends on your driving. You can run it year-round. That's definitely not a problem. That's a safety factor. It depends on the vehicle. If you have a four-wheel drive vehicle or an all-wheel drive vehicle.
I didn't realize that I wanted to go to that.
Yeah, same thing. Depending if the tire's going down more than 20% of tread, if you're more down more than 20%, you want to do that because a lot of vehicles, the transmissions are more sensitive to that difference in depth, so it will cause the transmission to work in different ratios. Yeah, you're welcome. Yes.
I don't know if there's any difference between the tires with regards to your gas.
Originally, all the articles I read about say the gas mileage will go down probably 10% by running snow tires. The new snow tires that are out there now, they have a lower rolling resistance, and they're saying it's negligible to 5%. So there will be probably a slight difference, but nothing drastic. It used to be like 2 or 3 miles per gallon. People were noticing they were dropping, but now they're telling us it's negligible to 5%.
The other association with gas mileage drop in the winter, obviously, you don't get fuel mileage in the winters. Your catalytic converters, going to stay hot.
Right, and you add up all those little pieces.
Right.
You start the
And
vehicle
it
up
does
with,
accumulate, so I was just curious as to how much.
you hit that thermostat light on, you don't have to do that. It's only going to do it. So started doing some real test just on it.
How many miles do they get?
It depends on the brand. Like this one right here, our primary snow tire that we selected is a hand-cooked snow tire or a Goodyear snow tire. Both pretty similar. Most of the time you get 25 to 30,000 miles out of them on normal driving. There are other tires, there's different compoundings in some snow tires like Bridgestone. You've probably heard of it, the Bridgestone Blizzak, which makes they call it a multi-cell compounding in the tread. And it has like little air pockets that you can't see that aren't visible. But those little air pockets that they grip onto the ice. And because of that, the tire tends to wear out faster. Most of the time you see people with Bridgestone Blizzak 10 to 15,000 miles. So it works great. What I didn't mention is, I don't know if you can see these little holes that are in the tire. Those are for studs. A lot of people live on some real steep mountain hills that ice up in the wintertime. The studs will work out great on stopping on ice or getting you going on ice. The Bridgestone Blizzak came out to compensate for the use of studs for people that didn't like the noise. So they made that compounding with that multi-cell that would help it grip on ice. It actually works pretty good, but the drawback is it's a rapid wearing tire. So you can stud any of almost all snow tires except for the ones that they call studless snow tires. You can stud them. There are only advantages on ice. Disadvantages, they're very loud, very annoying when you're driving on dry pavement. You can hear somebody coming down the street. Like, I'm down the street, 500 feet, I can hear somebody going down Messer Street. Instead of snow tires. They do stop on ice much better than a conventional snow tire will. But again, it's, I know everybody here's been driving for a while, so the conditions warrant that you have to allow for it. People with young kids, first-time drivers, and they ask me, should I have to stud their tires? And I said, definitely, for their kids. I did it for my kids when they're growing up. I still have two that haven't got a license yet. I'm going to do it for them too because they need every safety factor they can get. A more experienced driver, you slow down in the conditions. A good snow tire is going to do the job for you.
Is there a significant difference in cost between the snow tire and the all-season?
Pretty comparable, to be honest with you.
Really?
All-season tires vary so much as far as mileage expectancy. So they go from a 40,000 mile to a 90,000 mile tire. So when you get the very top echelon of 90,000 mile tires, they're much more than a snow tire. But if you get a mid-grade all-season tire with a snow tire, they're pretty comparable in price.
I haven't heard the question yet. Somebody always asks, can you put 2 on? Do I have to do 4? That always comes up.
That was my next topic. If you have a rear-wheel drive car, that's all everybody was used to in the past. Put 2 snow tires in the back. About 10 years ago, after the advent of front-wheel drives were real popular, somebody in California, in the northern part of the state, it was actually a tire dealer, put 2 snow tires on the car on the front. The person ended up getting in a car accident, did a 360 spin out. So they determined that because of that, only having 2 tires in the front tires were gripping the road great. The person's driving along, I've got good control. When you get to a certain point, that you can't feel the back end. You always know when you're going to lose control of the front. You can feel it's getting slippery, I'm going to slow down. You never know when the back end's going to lose control. So they were driving along, the rear end spun out, and they did a 360. That person ended up dying in that accident. So it was a lawsuit. They sued the tire manufacturer, they sued the place that put them on. They won all the lawsuits. Since that time, the liability factor is that you won't find anybody just putting 2 tires on a front-wheel drive car any longer. But if you want to see a video on it, they have a Unaroyal tire spin out, and you can just Google that, and it comes up on YouTube. And they actually put 2 cars going side by side. And they do all-season tires. They put a car with 2 new all-seasons on the front, 2 old ones on the back, and reverse it on the other car. They'll be going down a track at 45 miles an hour with just rain. Car with the 2 tires in the back keeps on going. New tires in the back. Car with the 2 new tires in the front does a spin out. And I never believed it before I saw it either. They've done all kinds of testings. So you definitely want to run on a front-wheel drive car, all 4 tires. I'd recommend it on a rear-wheel drive car to do the same thing. You don't have to, but again, it's the stopping ability and turning ability. When you go to make it on slip going, to having those 2 snow tires in the front along with the 2 snow tires in the back is going to make a big difference. But it's mostly a liability issue now, but peace of mind, safety, I'd always do it even if you have a rear-wheel drive car. The last thing on winter tires is, we just talked on it. It has front-wheel drive, ABS, traction control. Real quickly, ABS isn't going to do anything for you as far as stopping or turning if you don't have snow tires on. ABS just stops you from freezing up the brakes and doing a 360 spin out. It does that on dry pavement, do it on wet pavement. So you definitely, peace of mind, if you think you have the ABS or the traction control, you really need the snow tires to take it to the next level. It's my experience that I would always have if you ask me your recommendation, it'd be 4 snow tires during the winter time. I don't like to get stuck. I don't like going down 93 when the weather's bad. It's personal.
Hard to pass the snow plow without those snow
Oh, yeah.
tires.
I guess we're going to be going over our time, a lot of time, but we just want to let you know we do sell tires. Like I said, we're the biggest pro we sell over here in the main shop. We sell for every make and model. We know all the tire systems. We have all the modern mounting and balancing equipment. We're very competitive and we can beat anybody's price. So if you're interested in it, you can see Bill or one of the guys out front. I have a lot of information in the back here about driving in winter weather and icy roads, if you get stuck, what to do. I did want to have all this information. I knew I would be able to cover it in a half-hour time frame. Some of the other stuff, I did want to point out one other thing, and then Wayne will be talking about antifreeze wipers and batteries. But removing snow from your vehicle, I don't know if any of you know, but if you leave snow in your vehicle, driving down the road, they can pull you over, and the first offense is a fine between $250 and $500, and the second offense can cost you $1,000. And one of the big reasons is the snow melts on your car, becomes ice. You're driving down the road, it flips up and lands on the guy behind you. You're not only responsible for the damage behind you, but you're probably going to get a ticket accompanying you. So they make their unique things, snow brooms and snow brushes. The modern ones won't damage your paint. You can just pull them right off. They usually have a long extended handle that crunches up. And any other last minute questions before we move on?
Ron, Billy, thank you very much.
Any questions anytime?